You're listening to the Non-Del Influencers Podcast, brought to you by First Funding. Join host Matt Coles as he delivers powerful conversations to help non-delegated lenders succeed and scale in today's market.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Matt Coles. Thank you for joining the Non-Del Influencers Podcast today. Today's guest is someone who I have crossed paths with, I don't know, countless times, Laura Brandao. Hello, Laura.
Hello, Matt. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Laura, I'm going to jump right into it. Quite a bit of news in our industry in the last 24 hours. Mr. Pulte is just firing away tweets or X's. I don't know what you call them these days. What's been the instant reaction in your stream or in your social media world as people are digesting what's happening in today's world with the announcement about the strategic or the special products from Fannie and Freddie that FHFA is going to stop doing? Tell me a little bit about what's instant reaction based upon what you're seeing.
You know, number one, it's very interesting to me that there's people that instantly see something and they react of how is this going to affect, right? Yes. And then there's people that are kind of going, what do you mean? Is there a change? Is there something else that's going on, right? So for everyone out there, you know, we have been in the mortgage industry for quite some time, right? And we've seen many, many different versions and cycles and changes that are happening. Now, my advice to everyone out there is we are mortgage professionals. And I say that we are not reactive people. We have to be proactive people. So in a season when there may be some monumental changes going on, number one, you can't overreact. You can't start making assumptions as to additional things that are coming. You can't start panicking of, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my business? What's going to happen with my pipeline? Instead, we all need to take a deep breath. We have to get educated from a source that is reputable and a source that is valid to make sure that we're getting accurate information. And then you collaborate. You collaborate to ask questions to say, okay, how will this affect? When does this go into effect? What decisions do I need to make for my pipeline, for my business, depending on what role and where you are? But the number one thing we don't do is we don't become a feeding frenzy on social media and just spewing out things of making assumption, because that is not what our clients need from us right now in a time of change.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you know, we've been hit with some pretty heavy headlines over the last, forever, right, in our industry. But if you look back to last summer, right, the NAR judgment that was made, I mean, within 15 minutes, people had made up the idea of what the future of all real estate was going to look like.
That's right.
A major lender going out to buy Redfin, right? The leap to assumption of what it means for everybody in the industry. I couldn't agree with you more. Take a step back and understand it and digest it before you regurgitate out just information. And I think what we've become in our industry, sometimes is headline readers and not actually taking it in.
That is exactly right. And again, the most important thing is watch where you're getting your information. Make sure it's from a reputable source and ask questions before assumptions and before making decisions yourself.
Well, where would you go? I was going to ask.
Honestly,
what's a reputable source for you?
For me, it's the MBA. The Mortgage Bankers Association is where I don't miss a call, I don't miss a webinar, I don't miss an email, and I make sure that I'm following all of their up-to-date information because I know that they have validated it. I know that they have asked the proper questions, and I know they're the ones having the conversations in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the mortgage industry.
Yeah, these decisions aren't made lightly, right? And these decisions aren't just made on a whim. So I'm sure that the MBA has some type of feedback and or appropriate avenues to get the answers that everyone's going to be looking for. So the MBA is a trusted source for you as well.
Exactly.
Right. So you hit on something that's very important, right? MBAs are very important to me. And We're coming up to, I don't know, what, 6 weeks away from MBA
Yeah.
secondary, which makes me think, and based upon my background, right? So being in this seat now over at First Funding, as a national sales manager running this warehouse division, it's different from what I was doing before, over at a previous lender where I was running wholesale in non-del. And my trade show philosophy has changed in the last year and a half. And I see you at every single trade show. I can't get you for 5 minutes because you're off to another meeting. I am so, and I need to learn from you. I'm so interested in, how do you go about a trade show? How do you prepare for it? How do you act while you're in it? Like, strategically take meetings. And then what's your post conference strategy? If you can take me through that.
I love this question. I love this question because I see so many people being ineffective with their conference strategy, right? And to be quite honest, when I first started the trade show circuit, maybe I wasn't effective either, but I quickly learned, if you're dedicating that amount of time and energy and finances into it from your company, you had better get a return on investment, right?
Absolutely.
So, and I teach this to my clients now. Okay, so this isn't just something I do. I am now teaching other people how to do this process. Okay, so number one, I need to properly plan out my conference schedule almost down to the entire year. So as I begin a year, I have it mapped out which conferences are important that I can't miss, which conferences are a potential, where I'm going to see if I can fit it in, and which conferences just haven't been valuable to have a return on investment. And unfortunately, they're not making the list. Okay. So the very first thing is actually mapping out which ones are a must. And you mentioned secondary, you mentioned MBA secondary, right? That I can't miss. Like, right. That is one that has to be. I'm going to be there at MBA secondary, right? So what happens? I already have a lot of my meeting time already booked. We're not even close to that conference yet. And I've already have my schedule almost fully booked of who I plan on meeting with. Some of the people, they're already clients. Some of the people are potential clients. Some people are just, we get together every time in New York because that's just a routine, right? And we do that. So part of it, but no matter what conference I'm going to, I always have a list of what I need to accomplish before I end that conference. Did I meet this person? Did I get a decision from someone if I'm looking to have them give me a yes or not this year? I come down with an entire list that I will not leave that conference until I accomplish that. Okay. Did I get a picture with a particular person? Did I plan out them being on my podcast? Like, whatever that list is, it all depends on the strategy that I'm working on for that particular moment. Okay. So I go in with a plan. I preset my meetings, but I also leave openings. Don't book every minute, because if you book every minute, you could potentially lose an opportunity that wasn't planned out. So you don't want to book back to back to back to back and not leave yourself some wiggle room if you're able to intertwine something that you didn't expect that comes in.
Yeah,
okay?
We had that happen last year. I was headed out there on Sunday, and the Friday before, a very important person that I wanted to meet with all of a sudden reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm making a last minute trip. Do you have time to meet on Monday?" And I looked at my schedule, and I literally had no time left.
Nothing.
Yeah, it was booked from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. So yeah, that's a great point. Leave yourself some wiggle room for sure.
Yes, because you'll always fill it. Like, you always will fill it, right? But you know what happens? We think we're being productive by booking every single minute, but we actually lose some opportunity with not giving that little break. Okay. So go in with a plan, set up your meetings, and I don't care what conference you're going to. It's known that secondary, you have a lot of meetings. But not every conference is like that, right?
Yeah.
Some conferences you're like, oh, this one people really don't do meetings. No, every conference you go to, you have to do meetings. Even if it's
maybe you just don't do meetings, but everyone else is doing a meeting.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So you have to have your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner or what the after event is or whatever that plan is. And then you said the part that I see most people in our industry fail at, the follow-up after the conference. Okay. You cannot allow a large amount of time to pass before that follow-up. I see people wait weeks. Most people, it's zero follow-up. The majority of people never reach out after it. Okay.
Or Laura, because I love this topic, or it's an automated, which turns me off like right away.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. I mean, if I was going to give you the highest level of recommendation, the highest level, come up with something that's personalized by you, something that's like a signature thing, whether it's from your company or whether it's something from you personally. Come up with something that every person you meet with at a conference, they know they're going to receive X. Whatever X is. It could be a video. It doesn't have to be a gift. It doesn't like have to physically be something. It could be a video from you, personalized, saying, hey, Laura, it was really great getting to know more about your business or about you at the MBA secondary conference, right? I really enjoyed our time together. That will stand out because I got to tell you, I've never in my entire career received something like that. So if I'm getting something like that, I'd be like, that person is someone I want to do business with.
That's a really good suggestion. And what do you suggest? Is it like dating? Is it the 3-day rule? Is it the 7-day rule? What are we doing here?
I am always going to do it. Like, so if the conference ends on a Wednesday, by that Monday, they're getting something. So I'm always, I would say within the first week. So whether it's 3-5 days, within a week, if you're past a week, you're forgotten. You forgot it.
And so I couldn't agree with you more that this is probably one of the most overlooked aspects as we enter conference season, which is the follow-up. Taking good notes while you're in the meeting. I mean, I'm using this new app called Minutes where I just hit record. I let people know it's AI. It does the whole thing for me. I don't have to sit there and write anything down because I just can't. I'm not a person who can write and listen at the same time. I'm a male. Can't do two things at once. It's the one follow-up and then it just kind of falls off the radar forever, right? How are you so disciplined to continue your follow-up more than just that one time?
Yeah, so I use my calendar. I live and die by. Everything goes on the calendar. So my calendar is tied to my contacts. And I essentially set when my next follow-up is going to be with that particular person. And how often I follow up really all depends on what I'm trying to accomplish, right? Is it something that this is a project that is urgent and I'm going to stay on top of it? Or is it something that's like, all right, this is a nice to have that we're going to do, eventually, it's not really a hard press. Well, then I just put them on the tickler, right? I'm going to just follow up with them every few months just to say, hey, Matt, just checking in, seeing how things are going. If you need anything, I'm here for you, right? So that person is just a touch base. I will tell you, I'm really also good at when you're in my phone, the random text message that is just like the happy St. Patrick's Day, hope you're having a great day, have a nice weekend type of thing. Even just having that, I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, when I do that, somebody will say, I was thinking I had to get with you about something. Do you have time next week? 9 times out of 10, somebody will say that to me.
Yeah, the random text is my favorite thing. I'll be on you and I both travel a lot, so I'm on a plane. There's a lot of airport time, and I'm sure it's like you. A random person will just pop into my head, industry wide, just for whatever reason, something reminds me or something reminds me on my phone or whatever it could be, and it's just a quick text. Hey, you were on my mind. First of all, it feels good to hear that. You were on my mind. Do you have time this week to catch up again, whatever it might be? It's as simple as that. And just, there's a leader, I'm forgetting, I'm drawing a blank on who it is. This idea of blocking off 30 minutes every time you want to have a catch-up conversation, 5-10 minutes is fine, right?
That's right.
It doesn't need to be 30 minutes on my calendar is very valuable.
I was going to say that's hard. Yeah. That's very hard.
5 minutes, I always have time for 5 minutes.
So I have a funny thing that I do, okay, that everybody knows about this. I will give 15 minutes to anyone for anything. And the reason why I say that is if a stranger messages me on LinkedIn, no joke, and books a random meeting, because you can book an appointment on my LinkedIn, right? I will give anyone 15 minutes and I literally say to them, you want to try to sell me something? You want to try to give me pitch some crazy idea that you want my opinion on? You get 15 minutes. I will tell you, Matt, no joke, probably 70% of the people that have ever done that in the history, I have wound up doing business with them.
Wow.
In some way.
Nice.
Because number one, most people will not do that. The majority of people will not actually go through the motion of doing that. Yeah. But to your point, that 15 minutes, everybody knows you got 15 minutes to give me your ask. Yep. What's the ask? What do you want from me?
Right.
And in that 15 minutes, you establish, just not the right time. No, not interested. Or, you know what? We have a connection here. There's something more we can do together.
So when we're going into conference season, the key, I love what you said, and I believe in this philosophy too when I'm going into a meeting. I've gotten out of the practice a little bit, but it's still part of my daily routine. What is the yes that I'm looking for? Define it for yourself, because one, as a good salesperson, once you get your yes, you know to shut your trap and get out of there, right? All right, so now you're in a meeting. You're not booking yourself wall to wall, but you are structured in your time and you're leaving yourself some wiggle room. And then the post follow up. If you're doing anything, if you're doing anything, you're beating 95% of the competitors out there. And so just have some type of strategy for follow up. So let's move on to, what I see your name. You got projects all over the place. What's going on in your world, and what are you seeing this first quarter of 2025 out amongst the loan officers that you're talking to?
It's very interesting because, and listen, let's go back to the first question when you spoke about the change, right? The changes that are going on.
Yeah.
You're seeing the full gamut. You're seeing people completely burnt out, like meaning that they've been beaten down and burnt out from the last couple of years to where they've tried very hard to keep themselves inspired and motivated, but they just keep feeling they can't take the blow. That's one sector, right? You have another sector that has said, you know what? A lot of people, because others are getting burnt out, I'm still running the race, right? I'm still in there, but they're doing things differently. They're going deeper into their communities. They're using AI. They're using video. They're using digital presence. They're going deeper into the family units, and they're realizing they have to be that professional. They can't sell anything, right? This isn't about selling something. This is about providing value, being the resource, and being the very first person that someone thinks of when they have the need, right? That is who they're trying to be. So you're seeing the full gamut. The ones that think they can keep doing things the way it used to be, that's not working so well. The ones that are burnt out. And then you see this other group that's going, I'm working towards the future. I'm working towards, I'm not looking backwards. I'm not looking at the way it was. I'm not looking at trying to get back to what was. I'm looking forward. And those are the people that they're hopeful. They're optimistic. They're realizing that, okay, here's the path. So you're really seeing all gamuts. And I will tell you, every client I'm working with right now, I'm there for growth.
Right.
I'm not there to dump dump expenses off the boat. That's not why I'm there. I'm there for growth.
Well, it's really, it's great. I mean, the growth side of things, in my seat, again, we see a lot of growth, and I call first funding the land of hope and dreams, right? Because a lot of people come to us that want to move from broker to banker. And in your experience, and I know you know this area really well, we're seeing a lot of explosive growth in the non-delegated space. I think the fear of it has kind of gone by the wayside. The investors are doing such an amazing job of providing all the services that they need in order to make it as much smoother transaction. From your seat, what's one of the biggest headwinds that you see for people that are still hesitant or on the fence about moving from broker to banker?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions still. There is still a lot of misconception where people just don't have the education or the knowledge base to understand. And I will tell you, listen, from a wholesale lender perspective, we've gone full gamut. Years and years ago, it used to be you're a big boy or girl, you're a correspondent, you have to do everything yourself. That was years ago.
Yep.
Then it moved into, and listen, I was one of the people that did it. Then we moved into, you don't have to do anything. We'll disclose for you. We'll do your closing package. We'll do everything. All you need to do is just have the warehouse line, right?
Yeah.
And we've gone into that. Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think you have to have the knowledge base to understand the full picture, but yet work with a lender that gives you what you need as you're working towards your growth internally, right? So I think there's still some questionable stuff where people don't fully have a full picture of having an education, because maybe they're working with a lender that says you're just a one level up from broker, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, well, the reason why the investor wants to do that probably is to continue to have that hold or that control over the account. But truly in this space, the emerging banker space, it really is a launching pad for how you want to grow your business, right? And the tools that are available out there. I mean, I've been doing this since 2000, and I mean, we're not faxing over 1003s anymore or transboxing in a dark alley somewhere. The tools that allow you to own the disclosure piece and the closing piece are phenomenal. There's so many vendors out there that can help with that piece of it. So you don't have to be beholden to any one investor with regards to growing your lending side. So I love the misconception. The misconception might be, I can only work with a lender that does all these services. You know what? If you're getting started and that's the avenue that you want to go, absolutely, a full force supports you on that side of it. But ultimately, you should at least be open to having the conversation about, what does it look like if I do my own disclosures? What does that cost savings look like to me? Or what does that risk add to me? Or maybe if I want to add into underwriting, whatever it might be. You just don't want to get stale in that state, right? So I love the idea that there's a misconception there. What's one of the biggest headwinds that you think that the industry is facing right now as we go forward into the second and third quarter of 2025?
I mean, listen, this whole affordability, I mean, and when I say affordability, I'm not speaking about the prices of the houses. I'm speaking about everything. I mean, between the insurance costs, between the property taxes with the reassessments, because the costs of the home are so much more. I mean, we have to get creative. And when I say we have to get creative, again, theme of this conversation, we have to be professionals. We have to be mortgage professionals. Just because we have a comfort in one particular loan program, maybe that's not the best loan program for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Maybe Mr. and Mrs. Smith have to go into a different loan program because that is the best way to structure it for them, right? We all know we've got gig income happening over here. We've got side businesses. We got YouTube influencers, plus they've got W-2 income and all this other stuff. We have to really broaden our horizons as an industry, that this affordability issue as a collective whole, we have to understand it. We have to understand the insurance changes that are going on. We have to understand and educate with our borrowers. And we have to know all of the different loan programs, from everything from agency through alternate doc, to be able to be that advisor.
Yeah, the affordability, I think a lot of people read headlines and think that just means high interest rates and high home costs. But as someone who lives in California, the most unaffordable piece of my home these days is my insurance policy, right? I don't know how an average homeowner can continue to get knocked in the stomach every year with an increase of 30, 40, 50%. There's gonna be a breaking point at some point for a lot of these insurance companies, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. What is the MBA? I mean, I know you're very involved with the MBA. Where does the MBA stand on all that?
I mean, I don't think there's an answer at this point. I don't think there's any solution, but the very first part of it is the discussion. I will tell you, last year, I'm trying to think of what conference I was at. Last year, probably around this time, was one of the spring conferences, was the first time homeowners insurance ever came up. Yeah. Now, of course, we're hearing about the California fires and the hurricane repercussions. Actually, I think as we're recording this today, I think it's a year since Asheville with the hurricane that happened in Asheville. So these types of things, of course, are bubbling it up. But people, what about condos? What about the number of condos that are not eligible because of the deductible requirements, or with that crisis that happened and the negative thing that happened with the condo in Florida, that now a lot of these condos aren't approved anymore? I mean, there are so many factors that are now going into this. We have to, again, how did we start this conversation? Be aware of the things that are going on. Listen to what's happening in Washington, D.C., and pay attention to what the MBA is saying in your local MBAs and your local associations. Listen to this, because as a mortgage professional, it affects all of us, whether you're an originator or an executive or an ancillary vendor that works in our industry. These are the things that we have a voice. Every one of us. We all have a voice. Don't think that just some people have a voice. We have to know what's happening, and we have to be able to give our thoughts so that we can help the people we serve.
Yeah, I mean, shout out, quick plug for Mortgage Action Alliance, right? I mean,
there you go.
They do the writing for you, and it gets you directly. It tells you all about what the issues are, and it gets you right in front of your Congress people and your local Congress people and your senators. They do a lot of the work already, and it's a fantastic, easy way to participate.
Simple.
In the voice that we have as an industry. And, I've always appreciated, Laura, how active you are in the industry and your positivity. And I think that you and I both sit here today. We know that we have headwinds, but this has been a 20-year career for me. It's been a career for you. And we're going to continue to make it a career. I'm not giving up anytime soon. I know you're not either. So I'm looking forward to the rest of 2025. Whatever the challenges are, bring them on. I'm sure we'll find a solution somehow. We always do in this industry. There's always a solution in the soup somewhere. And it's because of good people like you, Laura. You've always been a good voice and a fantastic leader. So just wanted, again, to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join this podcast. Some really good conversation, and nothing but the best of luck with you. And hopefully I can get you for 15 minutes at the next conference.
There we go. Thank you so much for inviting me, Matt. Keep shining brightly and keep having the conversations, because that's how we all grow together.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the Non-Del Influencers podcast, powered by First Funding. For more resources and episodes, visit nondelinfluencers.com.